Rich DeVos, co-founder of Amway, has written a new book called Simply Rich, and we're here to talk about the book with his son, Doug. Doug, the book is exciting because it really kind of is a historical look back at your dad's legacy, isn't it?
It is. It gives him a chance to kind of tell the story and go through all those things that happened when he was young in Grand Rapids, this atmosphere that he talks about of growing up in this neighborhood with all the people around him, his parents, his grandparents, his cousins, and the impact that had on his life. It's pretty fun to see.
And then you think about the impact he's had on so many lives, including your own life. When you look back at like your childhood, how has your dad inspired you to be the man you are today?
Boy, it's hard to answer that question because it's everything. You know, it starts with unconditional love. What he did for all of us in our family, he and Mom, together, they put up with us, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. They loved us through it, but they also taught us through it. They would identify the things that were important, the values and the principles that were important and that we should know about. And then the third thing they did, they lived them. And that's really the power of parenting in this situation. This is who they were, and in the midst of growing a business and Mom and Dad traveling together and working a lot at it with Jay and Betty, those things did not get lost. They were parents and stayed connected to all of us.
Well, I know some of the core values that are so important, faith, family, it's kind of what the company is built on, but I love it that you haven't said that's our past but not our future. Yeah. You live it today.
We live it today. It's very much our future. It's our foundation, and we kind of put those as the founding fundamentals, and that my dad and Mom and Jay and Betty too, and that are part of this company. And because of that foundation, you can change everything else. You can change all your operations, you can change your products, you can change the way you approach the market. You can learn and be curious about what's happening. But when you have a foundational base like that in your life, so you go, hey, we're okay. I'm okay as a person. I've been loved my whole life, and because of that I can take some risks. Because of that I can try some new ideas. Because of that, if I fail, I know I have people around me who will pick me up and help me out and get me started again. And so there's a wonderful mix of having that strong foundation from the past, the present, that will lead into the future, that doesn't change, but allows you to look at a lot of things in life and learn and explore.
I think about our culture today, and I think that a lot of kids don't have a lot of that, and therefore we're afraid of failure. We're afraid, so we don't try. And I know failure is a big piece of this book. It's okay to look at our failures to see how we can make it right.
It's huge. It's a huge part of life because it's going to happen. You can't avoid having a bad experience or a failed attempt at something, whatever it may be. The question is if taking the risk to do it, and how do you get back up, and who surrounds you in that process, and what you learn from it and take to the next step in your life, and how you use those episodes. So for my father, his great experience with his heart transplant. He was rejected by just about everyone. You're too old, you're not right, we're not going to take a chance on you. And then you find the one person who says, well, we'll take you as a patient, and then his life changes.
Perseverance, persistence.
Right.
He had those qualities, or has those qualities.
Yeah.
When you look at the book and you look at employees and people you want to be around, what are the character traits you feel are most important?
Well, you named a couple of them right there, right? Perseverance, persistence. I think you would add to that, innovation and creativity. You'd add to that dependability and loyalty. You'd add to that putting others first. And I think in Dad's book and when Dad and Jay, as they built the business, the whole idea of this business is that we exist to help others build their businesses and to support their businesses. And when we do that well, then they are successful. And if they're successful, then the company's going to be fine. And so, it starts with a new customer, starts with a new prospect, the new, Amway salesperson, and goes from there. So I think those characteristics stay true.
The thing I love, I just sense complete respect for your dad as we're talking about him and his book, his life.
Yeah, it's brilliant when you look at what he's done and the way he was curious, he learned, and then he applied. You know, so he would learn something, he would do it. He would take the risk. He would go forward. And he was always thinking of the next thing. And, you know, on his 60th birthday, he made the list. What do I want to do next? 65 makes the, what do I want? What can we do next, you know? But he, you know, again, from a personal standpoint, he was able to do that because he had a faith foundation, you know, that allowed him to say, you know, hey, I'm okay. I know where I'm going. I know what happens when this life is finished. I have my faith, and then so he's able to live his life accordingly. And that's a great example, too.
All right, so you're the next generation. What's
Yeah.
your best advice for young kids who have big dreams?
Well, read the book.
Right?
No, start with the book, but never give up on those dreams. You know, keep having those dreams. Work diligently hard to pursue them. Challenge yourself, and then be open to where God leads you in that path, because sometimes the dream that started in one way may end up a little somewhere else. But if you build on that foundation of principles that, like we were just talking about, you've got a foundation that can take you many different directions, and then just see which doors open for you and where you can go from there.
Well, thank you for your time. I'm going to get reading
Thank
the
you.
book.
All right. I hope you do. You'll enjoy it.
Thanks.
Wedgwood Christian Services is proud to be a part of Where You Live.